This project began with some books. Books by an English illustrator called Rowland Emett, who was at his prime between the sort of 1940s, I suppose, and the 1960s. He was famed for his train illustrations. He created all manner of weird and wonderful trains, as you can see from the book here. But he was also well known for his bizarre inventions and devices that did things in the most complicated roundabout way, much like W. Heath Robinson in the UK or Rube Goldberg in America. He's probably most famous for having designed all the gadgets supposedly created by Caractacus Potts, you know, the character played by Dick Van Dyke in the film of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So, as I said, I've always been a big fan of Rowland Emmett's illustrations and cartoons. I was flicking through one of his books just recently. In fact, it was this one, which is called Early Morning Milk Train, and I found this little illustration on the frontispiece there, and what it appears to show is a steam Hansom Cab, you know, those old horse-drawn cabs that the Victorians had. And I thought, that's intriguing, I'd like to build something like that. So I did. Steam-powered vehicles, other than trains, were not uncommon, 100 years or so. I mean, there were steamrollers and traction engines driving farm machinery, but there were also early attempts at steam-powered cars. And in fact, every year I'm one of the safety stewards at a thing called the Cop Hill Climb, which is a charity vintage car event. And a steam car is there every year, and I always delight in seeing it. So it's not so far-fetched to have a steam Hansom Cab. I began with the boiler assembly, which consisted of a orange juice bottle, plus a caster from the bottom of an old chair, plus a scoop from some soap powder, some bits of balsa wood, and a few other bits and pieces I had kicking around in my junk box. Then I turned to the body. Now, this is where I cheated a bit, because normally I build everything out of junk, so the cost is minimal. But as it happened, there was a local toy shop that sadly was shutting down. Pressures of people buying online, I suppose. And he was selling off all of his art materials, and I picked up a couple of sheets of balsa wood, literally for pennies. Then I made the sort of the arms that would connect to the steam engine from plastic card. That stuff that's got like card on the outside and a plastic foam centre to it, because it's got a little bit more rigidity and strength than balsa wood. And the wheels I had left over from another project I did a year or so before. They're laser cut ones I bought from someone on Etsy, and I had a handful of wheels left and they were too good to waste. But then disaster struck. Yeah, I came in one morning, put the object on my chair in my office, made myself a cup of tea, came in, wasn't looking what I was doing, and sat on it and broke the entire thing. Oh no! So I started again from scratch, but to be honest, I think I got the shape better the second time around, so it probably was a little bit of serendipity anyway. So as I said, yes, I made the new body and attached all the bits to it, made a little saddle out of the trigger of a bleach bottle, coated the inside of the cab with material, with some old fabric, painted up the steam engine part, and then took the ball off the top because I really didn't like that, and then attached it all together, and I had pretty much the main structure. I then made a little cab man. I sculpted one out of Super Sculpey. To be honest, it's not very well sculpted, and I ditched it soon afterwards, but I did make this little short video at the time, showing what the supposedly finished product looked like. But as Leonardo da Vinci once wisely said, art is never finished, it's only ever abandoned. And I came back and looked at this a few weeks later and I wasn't happy with it. I mean, first of all, I ditched the driver. That was the first thing. But there were other things too. There were things missing. Like it didn't have any coaching lamps, which all coaches have. And the windows were a bit crappy. And, well, basically, I decided to put some more bits on it. I found some zeros made out of wood in a craft shop for about 10 pence each. So I used those to make surrounds for the windows and put some rivets on there made out of googly eyes. So that looks significantly better. I added a water tank at the back using one of those yellow pods you get inside a Kinder Egg, and added some pipes made out of aluminium wire. I added some more wires here and there. I then painted the engine a kind of vintage green, almost like a Cotswold green, which I thought maybe gave it a better colour. I added a little ladder made out of bits of coffee stirrers. I found an old dial, an old steam gauge, a pressure gauge thing, and then I dry brushed a few of the rivets, silver and things like that, put it all together, and it looked much better, much better. And here is the finished item as it is today, 2 years on from making it. And it's fully functional, as you can see. It does actually work. Why that's important, I don't know, but you can see all the detail here, the little birdie on top that I found, and the lamps and the curtains and the seat where the little guy sits and the wheels. And let's turn it round here a minute. There you can see the fuel tank at the bottom there, the water tank for the steam engine that feeds the steam engine, the little gauge. Yeah, I'm very pleased with it. It's always something I've been quite pleased with. Lord knows what I'm going to do with it. It's just gathering more dust and cluttering up my office, but there you go. The steam Hansom Cab. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, tune in next week. I may do another one. Doodle bib.